We're running about 5 minutes late for the happy reason that there weren't enough chairs in here. We had to get more, so it means that there are more than 100 people in this room. A great turnout. Good afternoon. I'm Eric Sandeen, Professor of American Studies and founding director of the Wyoming Institute for Humanities Research. Since this summer, I'm stepping down as director and retiring from the university. This is probably the last time that I'll be able to identify myself this way. And now I have to remind myself constantly by saying out loud, I am retiring. Since I am retiring, seeing I'm practicing, I'd like to preempt just a few minutes of Scott's time for a short valedictory. Those of you who have been to the last few WIHR events have heard me talk about the history and accomplishments of this institute. And I invite you to take with you two WIHR brochures, one introducing our mission and the other listing our recent accomplishments, and an assortment of bookmarks. 5 of them are new, and I'll leave it to you to figure out which ones those are. WIHR swag of a sort, and they're in the back of the room. I'd like to say a few words about today's institute and look toward its future. I was motivated to help found the Humanities Institute because it seemed to me to address 2 vital aspects of life in this profession. First, it would allow faculty the space and time to exchange ideas, a fundamental interaction that fuels our professional lives. And second, it would constitute a humanities community that would energize research, teaching, and interaction with public constituencies. I had already witnessed the commitment that our profession demands and the sustaining power of humanities communities by growing up in an academic household. My father, a professor of American literature and poetry, worked in the profession day and night. Our house frequently played host to informal classes of students and sometimes contentious constellations of faculty members. Through it all, my father managed to author 5 books of poetry, several widely anthologized scholarly essays, and in full partnership with my mother, nurture a community of scholar teachers while he was the head of the English department at Notre Dame. Even though university life has changed remarkably, drastically, even alarmingly, depending on your point of view, over the past few decades, such activities lay at the heart of how I perceive my profession and motivated me to help build the Humanities Institute here. Through the vicissitudes of the last 4 years, I want to make sure that we celebrate the fact that WIHR has become a true humanities community. And I will use a word seldom heard these days: joy. It has been a joy to witness humanities conversations develop into a complex community that also takes into account who we are as individuals. We should expect nothing less from the humanities, but at least my life and the workaday institution did not allow me to see this clearly. As the WIHR brochures will indicate, there is really good work being undertaken here at UW, and we should all be proud of that. I'd like to recognize that many of us had epiphanies that extended the scholarly into the personal. For example, I learned that certain subjects would bring out the inner Cleveland of a particular colleague, a vestigial Buffalo, or a suppressed Detroit in others, helping me place a biography and a disposition behind a voice or a sensibility. I rejoiced in the presence on our campus of colleagues who are so thoroughly bi- or trilingual that composing a grocery list is a polyglot exercise in vocabulary in whatever name came first to mind. My view of the world was widened by those who could read a painting, an artifact, a landscape, an archaeological dig, or a house as deeply as a written text. And I have to acknowledge here, probably for the last time in public, that it's been my privilege to have 2 senior colleagues in American Studies who are simply the smartest and most humane people I could ever have hoped for as colleagues. So I hope that those of you who are members of the humanities community take the time at the end of a trying year to celebrate who you are and what you do. And I hope that others at UW and in the Laramie community will thank you for your work at the university and for your dedication to the academic profession. Having drawn our collective breaths and hopefully recuperated over the summer, this is my hope for the humanities at UW in the future. I really do think that interdisciplinary communities like WIHR will become integral to how the university defines itself. Even more than is the case now, these interdisciplinary communities will become the center of faculty energy, curricular innovation, and interaction with the state. Such locations will influence how the rebuilding of the faculty will be structured, recruiting new members to UW through the manifest strength of places like WIHR. Whether this actually happens is, of course, beyond my control. I have to keep convincing myself of that. But I hope that the possibilities for such developments are given due space in planning for the future that is now underway. Everything I know and have experienced in 40 years in the profession and contact with academic life that literally extends back as far as I can remember tells me that this is possible. That's my preamble. Now I take great pleasure in introducing Scott Henkel, who will turn our attention to the past and the future of